Welcome friends to another r/maliciouscompliance video. Our first story of the day is by Switcher107. If you can't do it perfect, then don't do it. Okay. I worked retail when I was younger. Like most people, it was a mixed bag, and some of my best and worst memories involve my time working in retail chains. I worked in footwear in a then blossoming sporting goods franchise and had a real knack for it. It was rewarding helping people find shoes in their sizes, and it's heartwarming at times, especially when people with disabilities showed up and really needed hands-on assistance with things, and that was a core value the company had at the time. My hiring supervisor, whose name isn't important, was amazing, and the staff was really cool too. We all liked and respected him a lot. But alas, like many good things, it came to a sudden and forceful end, and upper management decided change was in order and shifted the supervisors, opening a spot in my department. That's when the new supervisor, henceforth known as Brandy, came in. Brandy was a transfer from another store 30 minutes away. The entire supervisor team knew and were not fond of her, but she filled a void, and the district manager and store manager were big fans of her for reasons unknown. We were warned that she was a woman of many faces and would tell you or promise you things you'd never get. I learned this about her fairly quickly, and before she even knew the staff, our strong suits, our schedules, or our names, she had a set list of things she wanted done and could not be deviated from. There was also word going around that she liked to make staffing changes and hire her own people when she came in. Morale died fairly quickly within the first week she was there. In short, she was a nightmare for almost the entire store. Now to the actual story. Brandy's first day was on a particularly busy summer day, and before I could even walk back to my section, I could hear her voice calling over the intercom constantly. Along the way, I was greeted by the morning staff who gave me a quick rundown of her and what she was like. They told me to have fun. Oh boy, I thought to myself. I found her in the back near the cleats and introduced myself. You have your tasks assigned to you already, and I want all of the displays finished in your areas before you leave today. I thought this was strange because I had set the displays for those exact sections the night prior, all according to the franchise standards. Firmly stuffed to look like a foot was in them, no visible laces shown, and even the laces changed to go inside the shoe so they didn't obstruct the view of the top of the shoe. They were signed off as completed by the lead on duty and even complimented. I was proud of my work. I went back to the sections I did the night before and looked them over for a few seconds super confused. I shrugged it off and set to checking, or at least restuffing a few to see if I had missed something. Nope, nothing. But I continued on as I had been instructed and did my job, and things seemed like they were going pretty smooth. Later on that afternoon, Brandy came back up to me, asked me when I was going to finish my displays, and I told her that I had. She looked at me and then back at the displays and made a look of disgust and said, "You're going to leave them like that?" "Like what?" I said, back confused. Nothing I did was ever really a problem in the past, and I really didn't want to piss her off because I loved my job and it was my first day with her. She scoffed and said, "Like this," and then grabbed a broken metal peg off a sock end cap and proceeded to jam as much paper as humanly possible into the shoe until it couldn't hold it anymore. No lie, the shoe felt like someone had filled it with concrete, and the fabric even protruded on some shoes because of the pressure. It was not pretty and not guideline. After watching how she did it, I just stood there dumbstruck because, again, this went against almost all of my training up to that point. Then she started in on me. No matter how hard I tried to give her what she wanted, but still meet the guideline I'd been trained for, she didn't like it and would get me to do them again. This went on for a little bit. And then she messed up. After an agonizing amount of time, she grabbed a shoe from me and said, "No, do it perfect. If you can't do it perfect, then don't even try. Just leave it for someone else to do." Let me remind you that she had a full list of other things she wanted done, but she rang a bell I wasn't going to ignore. So, instead of giving me another task, she gave me a loophole. I capitalized fully. Cue malicious compliance. After an emotional wrecking like the one she had given me, I excitedly said, "Okay," and walked away to help customers. I left her there with the display still in her hand. She also said this with an earshot of several other employees that were already sour of her. She didn't want me to try if I couldn't be perfect? Fine. That was exactly what I did. I did nothing on that list. For 4 months. I don't even remember anything it says on it. You might be wondering to yourself, how did you not get fired? Well, she tried. Several times. Anytime she would even try to write me up, I would quote her exact words to her, to the store supervisor, the leads, the district manager, and even someone in HR when they came to visit. Eventually, she was told to stop because her attempts could be viewed as retaliation, and that was a huge corporate no-no. I still provided excellent customer service and got rave reviews and compliments when customers went to check out. And the store manager and I got along really well, so they were hesitant to push too hard. A few months later, I changed departments and then met my now wife on a store setup trip and moved across the state. When she found out I was quitting, she pretended to be upset. But everyone knew she wanted me gone. She was gone within a year of me leaving. No clue why. Totally worth it. Thanks for the funny memories, Brandy. If you found a manager angry and basically breathing fire on you, and then they say something with a technicality to it like, "If you can't do this perfectly, you might as well just leave it for someone else," would you have the confidence to roll with that technicality? The confidence to just walk away and be like, "Okay, yeah, sure, I hope someone else can do it perfectly"? Let me know in the comments down below. Our next story is by Carl the Well-Endowed. Don't schedule anything for your job? Roger. While I usually work in the structural engineering side of our enterprise, occasionally I will assist with some of the generic civil projects. We are a design-build company, exactly what it sounds like. I've been working with a project manager who's been with the company since its founding nearly 30 years ago. We will refer to him as Rob for this story. Important note, this project takes place near Fairbanks, Alaska. Well, about 2 weeks ago, Rob asked me to look into what it would take to get a 40-yard bin dropped off on site for scrap metal from an old tank that was being demoed. He said, "We want the bin to arrive on Monday." So Monday last week. I get scrap pricing, as well as a drop-off scheduled through a local scrapyard, and inform Rob of the scrap price and mention that the delivery has been scheduled. Fast forward to that Monday, and I get a call from Rob and he's just screaming, cursing, and chewing my butt out for scheduling the delivery of this bin. He says, "I told you to look into it, not to schedule it." Well, to me that means schedule it, and I pointed out that I informed him via email that the bin would be dropped off. "I don't care what the other PMs have you do, nobody schedules any delivery to my job but me." Alright, fine. I can do that. I sent him an email which says something along the lines of, "I understood from our conversation this morning that in the future, I will not schedule any delivery for your projects. Is this correct?" That evening, a one-word response, "Yes." Last Wednesday, I get a call from the company which will be supplying the crane for our project. They inform me that they would like to get the 60 RT crane, pretty decent size, delivered to the job site on Friday. I tell them that I cannot confirm that delivery and that I will need to get Rob in touch with them. I'm informed that we need to get this handled ASAP because we're getting close to the delivery window. For those unaware, I assume most everyone, as I didn't know this until the conversation, there's a time in the late spring in parts of Alaska where deliveries of loads over a certain weight are not allowed due to the damage that the load will do to the roadways with subgrades that are recently unfrozen. Apparently this window changes from year to year, but is in place starting this week. You can still transport heavy loads, but it takes additional permitting and has a fee, much like normal oversized loads. I call Rob and leave a voicemail to him that he needs to call back our crane supplier needing confirmation for delivery on Friday. I follow up with an email. I did not hear back on Wednesday, so I repeated the procedure on Thursday morning, again with no answer to either call or voicemail. On Thursday, right before I head out, I email Rob and CC our VP, who heads all installation projects, telling Rob that the crane supplier needs an answer immediately, and that I've been trying to reach Rob since Wednesday to confirm this, as I've been informed that I'm not to schedule deliveries for your project. Well, that got the ball rolling. Rob calls me in the morning on Friday and tells me to get the crane here today. I call the crane guys, and they inform me that there is no way that they can get the crane in that day, and that it'll have to come in on Monday during the restricted delivery window. I end up transferring the crane supplier to our VP because I am not about to approve the additional price of this delivery, and the VP handles it. VP's a cool guy. He's a bit annoyed with me, but I forwarded him the email confirming that I'm not allowed to get deliveries scheduled, and he's completely off my back about it. Sounds like we're out about 10 grand due to the additional charges for this delivery. And guess who's allowed to schedule deliveries again? I should note that the owner is in the office every day, and he's not the kind of guy to take lightly to the fact that he's out 10 grand because someone lost his cool about something stupid. It's that paper trail, man. Having that correspondence, having that written backup that proves everything is not your fault is the biggest key to this story. Otherwise, your job might have been in jeopardy, or you would have had a hot mess regardless. Our next story is by Fear Cat. Free donut, but not like that. A chain donut shop in the US is doing a promotion where you come in, show them your vaccination card, and you can have a free donut. Yay! This happened to my grandparents last month. So my grandparents go to the shop with their card and decide that in addition to their free donut, they were going to purchase a dozen, so 14 donuts total. They get to the front of the line, display their cards, tell the worker their plan to also purchase a dozen, and begin ordering their donuts. Grandma says, "Can we have 10 of the plain glazed donuts?" The worker packages them. 2 chocolate. Worker packages those. And for our free donuts, we'll have 2 birthday cake. The worker says, "We can't do that. The free donuts have to be plain glazed." Grandma says, "Well, that's fine. I have 10 plain glazed ones in the box already. We'll just count 2 of those as the free ones." The worker says, "We can't do that either. The free ones have to be glazed and we can't substitute them." So at this point, my grandma thought maybe there was some difference for the pricing of a dozen depending on what donuts were included in the dozen, and maybe the worker thought she was trying to get some sort of deal and not pay the extra money for the flavored donuts. Grandma says, "You can charge me for those 2 birthday cake to be included in the dozen, and we'll just take 2 of the 10 glazed to count as our free ones." The worker says, "I'm sorry, but that isn't the policy. We can't do that." Grandma pauses. "Okay, can you please take out 2 of the glazed and substitute them for the birthday cake?" The worker puts back 2 glazed, packages birthday cake. Grandma says, "Okay, so we'll take 2 plain glazed donuts for our free donuts." The worker takes 2 plain glazed donuts next to the ones she had just put back on the shelf and puts them in the box. She got her free donut in the end, but man, I thought it was hilarious how that worker processed the situation. I'm trying to figure out if this was like a brain fart moment, if this was something told to them from above that they really don't want to mess up, or if it was like OP said, and it felt like there was an attempt to pull one over on them or something. And our final story of the day is by Poison Man 206. I gave my girlfriend the best paragraph ever. So I recently started dating a girl, we'll call her Sarah, after being friends with her for a few months. Barring some hiccups and disconnects, it's going pretty well. One of the things Sarah likes to do is ask me to send her paragraph-long texts expressing my love for her, or at least trying to be cute. Now at first, I didn't mind and they were halfway decent. However, over time as I've sent them, the quality has gone down. She still loves them, but I've actually started cringing as I've typed them out. A few weeks ago, Sarah returned the favor and sent me a couple of paragraphs which were actually pretty nice. I knew that she was gonna ask me for one again at some point, so I started planning one out. And this one, by far, would be my favorite. Now, a little sidebar, I love Star Wars. I like memes. I use memes to communicate, react, etc. I have made memes, including Star Wars prequel memes. The foreshadowing at this point cannot be more obvious. So, sure enough, Sarah asks me for a paragraph for the following morning. So I agree to it and everything. I tell her it will be a very long paragraph, very well thought out, and that she's going to love it. She's very excited by this, however, does wonder why I'm smiling so much when I say this. The following morning, I send her the message I promised. Good morning. Have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? I thought not. It isn't a story the Jedi would tell you. Since then, she's begun to specify paragraphs about her. I know this probably isn't the best story on here, but it still makes me smile, especially since it was Star Wars Day. Darth Plagueis was a dark lord of the Sith, so powerful and so wise. It probably bummed Sarah out, but I thought it was pretty funny, not gonna lie. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So if you have a favorite story of the day, let me know which story and why in the comments down below. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like, and if you haven't, subscribe and turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. No matter what you do, whether it's just viewing the video, liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, I appreciate the heck out of it. Every little thing that you do helps the channel grow that much more, and I can't thank you enough for it. So, until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll be right here next time on the Storytime channel.